Usually, when we talk about human anatomy, there's this built-in expectation of mapping.
Right, like biological cartography, basically.
Exactly. You open up a standard medical textbook, you flip to the section on the eye, and you see it all laid out. The optic nerve, the lens, the retina.
Yeah, it's very tangible.
Right. The scientist just points to the diagram and says, well, there it is. That's the machinery. That is how we see the world.
Because it's entirely based on a closed observable circuit.
Right.
Light enters through the pupil, it strikes the photoreceptors lining the back of the eye, and then a chemical reaction triggers an electrical signal.
And that shoots right into the brain.
Exactly. I mean, we've spent centuries making our biology measurable and, neatly categorized. We really like knowing exactly where the wires go.
We do. But then, you stumble across a piece of media that takes that incredibly detailed standard medical textbook and just tosses it right into a wood chipper.
Oh, absolutely.
It casually informs you that the actual map of human vision is entirely invisible.
Yeah, which is just a wild premise.
It really is. Suddenly, that reliable physical biological circuit is rewritten into something completely unrecognizable. And today's source material does exactly that.
Yeah, it's quite a document.
We are unpacking a single, highly provocative, and just incredibly dense video excerpt today.
Very dense.
It goes by the title, let me read this exactly, 0617.7. 4 out of 5 steps invisible in 3D vision.mp4.
I mean, the title alone signals that we're about to step, far outside the bounds of traditional optometry.
Oh, way outside. It's a wild trajectory.
Yeah.
The speaker in this really brief excerpt makes an incredibly bold claim.
Right.
They assert that they have discovered the true mechanics behind how 3D vision actually manifests.
Which is a huge claim on its own.
Right. But they go further. They are essentially claiming to have built a bridge between abstract human consciousness and the literal physical biology of the eye.
Yeah, it's a massive leap.
And the kicker, they declare that this discovery operates on a level entirely unknown to modern science.
Undiscovered physics, basically.
Yep. And because of this revelation, they say they have definitively secured themselves a Nobel Prize.
Naturally.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, our mission today is not to peer review the physics of what this speaker is saying, right? We aren't here to validate their science.
No, definitely not.
Right. We are going to analyze the fascinating anatomy of this massive paradigm-shifting claim exactly as it's presented to us in the text.
We're looking at the blueprint.
Exactly. We're looking at the architecture of the argument itself. Like, how does someone even construct a claim of this magnitude?
Well, before we even get to the 5 steps mentioned in the video's title, we have to understand the unconventional universe this speaker is building right out of the gate.
Oh, yeah. The world building is intense.
It really is. The source material immediately connects the concept of consciousness directly to physical human rods and cone cells.
Right, to explain how 3D vision manifests.
Exactly. But they don't stop there. The speaker introduces the assertion that a creator's intelligent design operates at what they call a subquantum level.
Right.
And they explicitly state that this knowledge is not available to modern best geniuses or scientists.
I mean, they're attempting to take the ultimate metaphysical software, right, human consciousness, and claim a direct operational link to the ultimate biological hardware, the cellular makeup of the eye.
Wait, I'm stuck on this already because let's look at the hardware for a second.
Sure.
How are rods and cones, which are literal, squishy, microscopic cells in my eyeball, supposedly interacting with a subquantum intelligent design?
It's a great question.
Right. Like, is the speaker suggesting our visual cells have some sort of, I don't know, microscopic Wi-Fi antennas tuning into a frequency nobody else can measure?
That's certainly how it reads.
It just feels like they're reading from a biology textbook in one hand and like an esoteric philosophy manifesto in the other.
Well, what's fascinating here is the specific rhetorical strategy the speaker uses to force those two vastly different concepts together.
Okay, how so?
Well, to understand the maneuver, consider how science currently views the quantum level, right?
Right, it's already pretty strange.
Exactly. In physics, quantum mechanics is already the bleeding edge of our understanding of reality.
Yeah.
It's the space where the standard predictable rules of classical physics just begin to break down and behave in bizarre, counterintuitive ways.
So it's already hard to grasp.
Right. So by placing their mechanism at the subquantum level, the speaker is intentionally stepping completely outside the realm of verifiable modern science.
Oh, wow. I see. They are essentially building their theory inside a concrete bunker and declaring that nobody else has the security clearance to enter.
That's a perfect way to put it. By explicitly stating that this subquantum realm is a space the world's best geniuses cannot access, they achieve something very specific structurally.
They protect themselves.
Exactly. They immunize their entire theory from traditional scientific critique.
Because no one can test it.
Right. Think about how actual science verifies vision.
We measure it.
Yeah, we can observe a photon of light hitting the rhodopsin protein inside a rod cell.
What?
We can measure the exact cascade of chemical reactions that follow.
We literally hook up electrodes and watch the neurons fire.
Right, it's a highly verifiable process. But if modern science doesn't possess the tools to measure this new subquantum level,
Then modern science cannot physically disprove the speaker's claim.
precisely, the speaker has effectively set themselves up as the sole authority, the absolute gatekeeper of this entirely new branch of physics and biology.
Man, it is an incredibly clever defensive move.
It really is.
Like, if you can't even see the playing field, you can't tell me I'm playing the game wrong.
Exactly.
But, that raises a huge structural problem for me.
What's that?
If the speaker has entirely rejected the current scientific understanding of vision, and they've explicitly locked all the standard scientists out of the room, how do they actually go about structuring their brand new theory?
They have to start from zero.
Right, they have to build a new framework from scratch. And here's where it gets really interesting.
It does. The source tells us the speaker divides the manifestation of 3D vision into exactly 5 steps.
5 steps.
Yeah, and they explicitly note that they are doing this for simplification.
For simplification.
Right.
Right. Now, crucially, the speaker reveals that the 5th step in this sequence is the visible 3D vision, which we see.
The final result.
That's the end result. But the 4 steps prior to that, the speaker states they're completely invisible.
Entirely hidden.
Right. And they emphatically repeat it to drive the point home. They say they're invisible.
Yeah.
And then they declare that nobody else in the world knows about these 4 hidden steps.
I mean, the contrast embedded in that structure is just jarring.
It's ridiculous, Fred.
You have one highly visible, universally experienced step tacked onto the very end of 4 completely hidden, unprovable ones.
It reminds me of those internet math memes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, imagine someone hands you a groundbreaking mathematical proof, right?
Okay.
There are 5 equations on the page. Equation number 5 is just 2 + 2 = 4.
Right. Undeniable.
We all agree on that.
Yeah.
It's a fact. But equations 1 through 4 are completely redacted.
Just blacked out.
Exactly. Just thick black Sharpie over the entire top of the page. And the author is standing there demanding you give them a Fields Medal because 2 + 2 = 4 is correct. Therefore, whatever is hidden under the Sharpie must also be brilliant.
They're demanding you just blindly trust the hidden math.
Yes. Isn't it incredibly convenient that 80% of this groundbreaking theory is entirely invisible?
It's a massive leap of faith.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
how does one even categorize something as a step if it literally cannot be seen or measured by anyone else on Earth?
Well, that analogy perfectly captures the structural trap being set here.
Yeah.
Think about why the speaker chooses to present the theory in this specific way. Let's look at the psychology behind the phrase, for simplification.
Okay, let's look at it.
When you take a massive, conceptually unfathomable, idea-like subquantum intelligent design orchestrating human consciousness, and you break it down into a numbered list, it immediately changes how the brain processes the information.
Oh, it borrows the aesthetic of the scientific method. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. It sounds like a lab protocol you'd read in a sterile room.
Exactly. Numbered lists lower our cognitive resistance. They give the human brain a sense of completion, order, and sequential logic.
We like lists.
We are culturally primed to trust step-by-step processes.
Right.
But let's actually contrast this simplified invisible framework with how 3D vision truly works in reality.
Let's do it because it's already amazing.
Because the real science is wildly complex, and it doesn't require any subquantum mystery.
No.
When you look at an object, you are not just passively receiving a prepackaged 3D image. You have 2 eyes spaced roughly 2.5 inches apart on your face.
Right, which is key.
Yeah, because of that physical spacing, each eye receives a slightly different, flat, 2-dimensional image of the world.
Anyone listening can test that right now.
Oh, definitely.
If you hold your thumb out at arm's length, you close your left eye and then switch and close your right eye, Your thumb appears to jump back and forth against the background.
Exactly, binocular disparity. So those two distinct 2D images are converted into electrical impulses by the rods and cones, and those signals travel rapidly down the optic nerves.
It's a whole journey.
It is. They meet at the optic chiasm, they partially cross over to opposite sides of the brain, and they get routed all the way to the visual cortex at the very back of your skull.
Wow.
And then your brain has to perform a massive, instantaneous, ongoing calculation.
Doing math all the time.
Constantly. It has to stitch those two slightly different flat images together, calculate the minute differences in angles, adjust for lighting and shadow, and artificially synthesize the perception of depth.
It is essentially a biological rendering engine.
Exactly.
Your brain is generating the 3D space in real time
Yeah.
based on 2D data feeds.
And notice how the actual biological process involves dozens of highly specific, measurable microsteps.
Right, real steps.
Yeah, light refraction, chemical transduction, neural firing, synaptic transmission, cortical processing. It is a messy, iterative, and entirely observable chain of events.
We can see all of it.
Right, but the speaker in our source material bypasses all of this biological heavy lifting.
They just skip it.
Yeah.
They condense the entire magnificent complexity of the human nervous system into one neat, visible step 5.
Yes.
And then they replace the actual, measurable neural processing with 4 invisible subquantum steps.
And by tethering the invisible to the visible, they create an anchor for their claims.
Right, tying the balloon to a rock.
Exactly. The implicit argument being made is you are experiencing 3D vision right now. That is step 5. Because step 5 is a reality you cannot deny. Steps 1 through 4 must necessarily be the reason why.
That is so wild.
They validate the unseen by pointing to the mundane, everyday reality you experience every single second.
It is an incredibly powerful way to frame an argument if you want to avoid actually providing evidence.
It's highly effective rhetoric.
You just point to the sky and say, well, the sky is blue, which is step 5 of my invisible subquantum color theory. Look up, see the blue. I rest my case.
That's exactly how it functions.
Okay, so if someone genuinely, truly believes they are the only person on Earth who holds the key to these 4 hidden steps,
The only person.
right, the only person who can read the redacted math proof we talked about earlier, what is the logical real-world outcome of that? What is the prize for holding this exclusive backstage pass to reality?
Well, the speaker actually provides us with their ultimate conclusion at the very end of the video excerpt.
And it is a doozy.
The conclusion they reach is remarkable in its finality.
They state with absolute conviction that because nobody else in the world knows about these 4 invisible steps, they have, quote, sealed the Nobel Prize.
The certainty in that statement is just absolute.
No doubts at all.
None. It is not presented as a hypothesis waiting to be tested or,
Yeah.
a hopeful submission to a committee.
Yeah.
It is presented as a finalized, world-altering victory.
I am honestly reeling at the audacity of it.
It's a lot.
It's like calling checkmate on the first move of a chess game when you're the only person who knows the rules.
Or just declaring you won the marathon before you even bought running shoes.
Exactly. I try to picture someone walking into the Nobel Committee headquarters in Stockholm, slamming down a folder full of completely blank paper and saying, well, I'm the only person on Earth who knows what's written here, so I'll be taking my gold medal now.
It really paints a picture.
So what does this all mean? When a piece of source material ends on a grand declaration like this, what does this level of supreme conviction tell us about the nature of the text we're analyzing?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it reveals a fascinating psychological paradox that is really commonly found in fringe theories and, paradigm-shifting claims.
Okay, what's the paradox?
Well, think about the Nobel Prize. By its very definition, it is the ultimate symbol of the established scientific community.
Right, it's as establishment as it gets.
Exactly. It is an award given by a community that relies entirely on observable, measurable, rigorously peer-reviewed evidence.
Wait, isn't that the exact same community of modern best geniuses that the speaker explicitly locked out of the room in the very first paragraph?
Yes. That's the paradox. The speaker deeply desires the ultimate validation and prestige of the scientific establishment.
But they refuse to play by the rule.
Right. They demand that validation based on a mechanism, the invisible subquantum steps, that the establishment is fundamentally incapable of verifying.
Wow.
This highlights a profound hunger for authoritative recognition, coupled with a complete rejection of the rigorous methodologies required to actually earn that authority.
They want the destination without having to travel the road.
Exactly. And, consider how actual scientific paradigm shifts occur in the real world.
Right, they do happen.
They do. When Albert Einstein proposed general relativity, he fundamentally altered how humanity understood gravity and the fabric of spacetime.
It was revolutionary.
He was claiming that massive objects actually warp the invisible fabric of the universe.
Which at the time, I mean, that sounded like magic, right? It was a massive, unseen framework.
It did. But Einstein didn't just publish his equations, declare the steps invisible, and demand a Nobel Prize.
Right.
He provided a mathematical framework that made specific, testable predictions about the physical world.
Real-world consequences.
Yes. He predicted that the gravity of the sun would visibly bend the starlight passing behind it.
Okay.
And in 1919, during a solar eclipse, astronomer Arthur Eddington measured exactly that.
He actually saw it.
Right. Einstein's invisible theory of warped spacetime was validated by a highly visible, measurable interaction in the real world.
Invisible claims require highly visible, mathematically rigorous proof.
Exactly.
But the speaker in our source material builds a completely self-contained logic loop, so they never have to confront the need for that proof.
They avoid it entirely.
Right. Think about the internal logic here. If only they can access the subquantum level, and the subquantum level controls vision, then by definition, they alone have solved the mystery of vision.
Right.
In their constructed universe, they aren't just a candidate for the prize, they are the inevitable, undeniable winner.
The logic is completely airtight, provided you never leave the vacuum of the excerpt itself.
It's a bubble.
The premise proves the conclusion, and the conclusion relies entirely on the premise.
It is a closed circuit, much like the biological map of the eye we talked about at the very beginning.
Yeah, full circle.
But instead of being built out of nerves and tissue, this circuit is entirely constructed out of rhetoric, assertion, and invisible architecture.
Which is why it covers an astonishing amount of philosophical and rhetorical ground in a fraction of the time it takes to explain actual biology.
We have been on such a wild trajectory today.
We really have.
To summarize the journey of this single short video excerpt, I mean, we started with a massive, breathtaking claim, linking the abstract concept of human consciousness directly to the literal biology of eye cells.
All facilitated by a subquantum intelligent design.
Right. Then, we dissected the simplified five-step framework, a process where a staggering 80% of the mechanics are entirely invisible.
Mimicking the aesthetic of scientific structure without providing any of the actual substance.
Exactly. And finally, we landed on an unshakable, absolute declaration that this hidden knowledge has preemptively secured the highest honor in science.
Unpacking a text like this requires us to really look past the confidence of the delivery and examine the actual floorboards of the argument.
But let's bring this back down to earth for a moment. I want to turn this back to you, the listener.
Yeah, why does this matter?
Exactly. Why spend this time dissecting a brief, unconventional excerpt about invisible 3D vision? Why does unpacking this specific brand of logic actually matter to us as we go about our daily lives?
It matters deeply because it trains the critical eye.
Right.
We are living in an era where we are constantly bombarded with revolutionary claims online, in media, and in our social feeds.
Every single day.
Tomorrow it might be a new biological life hack, a paradigm-shifting diet, or, a hidden truth about human health. Dissecting this specific text gives us a blueprint for spotting structural traps in everyday information.
That's a great point.
When someone mixes tangible, verifiable terms, like rods and cones, with untestable metaphysical assertions like subquantum design, we need to feel that friction.
We need to recognize when someone is pulling from two different dictionaries to sound authoritative.
Exactly. We need to ask ourselves, does putting information into a numbered list actually make a process factual?
No,
Does extreme, unshakable conviction make a statement true?
definitely not.
Learning to separate the aesthetic of authority from the substance of actual evidence is a vital survival skill in the modern information landscape.
It really is.
Analyzing a text like this sharpens our critical thinking for every other grand claim we encounter.
It stops us from being hypnotized. It gives us the tools to look at the redacted math proof and ask to see the work.
And there is a final thought experiment I want to leave you with, something that stretches beyond just analyzing this single video excerpt.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's imagine for a moment that tomorrow, a genuine, groundbreaking, entirely invisible subquantum process were actually discovered.
Like a real one.
Right, a process that truly alters the foundation of how we understand reality, but by its very nature, it completely defies all current scientific tools of measurement.
Okay.
If it truly cannot be seen, measured, or verified by modern technology, how could it ever be proven to the rest of the world?
Oh, man. That is the ultimate mapping problem.
Yes.
How do you draw a blueprint for a building that physically refuses to be seen? That is a fantastic puzzle to chew on. We want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you.
Your curiosity is what makes digging into these sources so rewarding. Keep examining those blueprints, keep looking for the invisible steps, and most importantly, keep questioning the information around you.